Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, chunashumme, washmale, ohio gonzaimes, guten morgen. Hola, boyor, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasal, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabihap, ishpata, marhaba. And a very good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning. Alongside the one and only, the very fantastic, the very energetic Shahzad Hasan Khan. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that wherever you may probably be at this point of time, I hope and pray that everybody out there is doing perfectly well and are actually ready to kickstart their day with us. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to start my show on a very different note, and this is something which I came across just yesterday, and I thought that it will be interesting if I'm going to share it with you guys the way it was. So there was this guy, he's an Arab guy, and he was doing this motivational speech thing, and he's been awarded as one of the best motivational speakers all over the world. So I was listening to his speech, the speech which actually got him that award. And all of a sudden, while he was on stage, he took out a cigarette, lit it up, and then he was like, what if I told you guys that, it's just that the DNA of you that will actually probably make you go either way. For example, God forbid, if you smoke, it can be very harmful for you. But what if I told you that your DNA can actually have an impact and it might never say something to you, even if you smoked for another 100 years? And then all of a sudden he said, hey, you know what, I was just making this up. So imagine that words actually have a very important role to play in our life. The things we come across, the things people say to you, I think that all of these things collectively have an impact, and that's how we shape our personality growing up. When our parents tell us something, bete ye nahi karte hain, so the impact of that thing will actually make us do that thing or probably not to do that thing as well. So the sole purpose of sharing this thought with you guys is that if you have, whenever you're around people, please make sure that you use the right words and you choose the right language to speak with other people as well, because it's going to have an impact in their life. And God forbid, if you're going to use a few negative words from the very negative vocabulary, I don't think that it's going to help anybody out there. But since it's 4th of February 2021, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very important day today, and the reason is that today we are actually observing World Cancer Day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to be honest, I myself am suffering from leukemia for the longest period of time, and I'm very thankful to Allah Almighty, to all of those doctors whom I go to, and to all of those government agencies who are providing us with the medication which actually helps us survive. But as a matter of fact, every single minute all over the world, 17 people die of cancer. And World Health Organization actually predicts that by 2030, cancer will be the #1 killer in the world. It was earlier the cardiac issues, but now, since there have been so many interventions and there have been so many improvements within the procedures and the treatments, that it is more likely to say that, God forbid, cancer is actually going to take #1 in terms of mortality. Now, what to do? I think that this is something which we really need to talk about. And talking about the theme, ladies and gentlemen, it says, I can and I will, which means that we can collectively take the burden of cancer and we can probably move forward in a better direction by bringing in collective efforts. And this is how it needs to be. I mean, I think the government needs to play their role. We need to play our role as being on television, media people. The doctors need to play their role. But what should be done? That's the question. And to simplify it, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very easy. First of all, I think whenever we are talking about any issue, awareness, ladies and gentlemen, needs to be on #1. And on #2, obviously, needs to be screening. We keep on telling everybody out there that, after every 6 months or a year's time, everybody needs to go in, get themselves checked up. Over here in Pakistan, we really do not have such system where we kind of, motivate people to go and get yourselves checked up. Over here, God forbid, if something's going to happen, even then we're going to sit on it and be like, I think it's going to be fine. And then after a month's time, we'll go to the doctor. When the doctor's like, aapko aane mein thodi si der ho gayi. We do not really want to hear that. So what should be done is something which we'll be talking about, how to raise and spread awareness, how can people protect, and what are those kinds of cancers which can be avoided by getting vaccines. This is something I never knew. I've been doing this show for the last 8 years, and today was the very first time that I got to know that there are a few cancers which you can really, avoid by just taking the vaccine shots. So, ladies and gentlemen, to actually talk about, all types of cancers, what needs to be done, and how can we actually prevent cancer, is the basic theme which we'll be following today as well. So we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by the consultant oncologist. He's very fresh early in the morning. He is Dr. Mohammed Farooq. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Assalamu alaikum, Shahzad. Good morning, Pakistan. Thank you very much for calling.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you, and we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by you as well, because every now and then when I'm visiting the hospital, he's actually in the same hospital as well. I see him very busy. You know, he's always looking after people. Okay, you know, you can come in, go out, and all of that does happen. And I think that it's the moral responsibility of a doctor to do so. But sir, well, first of all, what will be your message today on 4th of February when we are observing World Cancer Day, and what needs to be done?
Yeah, Shahzad, this is very important to realize that 75% of patients, 75% of cancers can actually be preventable.
All right.
This is not my personal theme.
Yeah.
This is a study which has been carried out. And for the communities to know, what media does is spread the news.
Yeah.
So spreading about the awareness of cancer is called primary prevention. And this is primarily what WHO does every 4th February of every year, and that's how we take it from there.
Exactly.
I can and I will means that I'll be an active participant, as you said, in preventing the cancer and spreading the news that cancer is becoming like a pandemic.
Exactly.
Not like COVID-19,
Yeah.
but as you said, it's going to be #1 as a cause of human mortality by 2030. So that is humongous. So primary prevention means people should know cancer is a potentially fatal disease. And the only thing we can do is change our lifestyles, our dietary habits, and try to conserve environment, which are probably not the priorities of any one of us in the modern world.
Yeah.
So it's just a reminder for everybody to realize that. Now, when we talk about primary prevention, we need to understand there are a couple of cancers, or 3 of them at least, where they can be very easily preventable. These are screenable cancers as well. That means if you have certain disease, we can do certain tests to make sure that as soon as a cancerous change occurs, we can pick it right in time in a very early stage, and we can prevent dissemination and death eventually.
Wonderful.
So as we know, living in Pakistan, there are certain areas where we have hepatitis B and C.
Yeah.
In other areas, in affluent societies in Pakistan or around the world, fat is another cause of liver cancer, and 4th, but not the last, is alcohol.
Right.
So we understand that we are not an alcoholic society
Exactly.
by at large, but fat is one, that's obesity, and hepatitis B and C in certain areas of Pakistan is actually very high. Every 18, 19 people out of 100 have hepatitis B and C.
Yeah.
So these kind of injurious substances like alcohol, fat, and viruses like Hep B and C, they cause persistent infection, inflammation, injury repair cycle pursues. So eventually with hepatitis B in 7 to 10 years and with hepatitis C in 15 years time, the cirrhotic or shrunken liver actually changes into a liver cancer.
All right.
The best we can do is 75-80% of patients who have got liver cancer in one lobe or 3 or less lesions, all less than 5 centimeter, can have a liver transplant.
Okay.
But again, it's a very costly procedure. It's a very laborious procedure, and it is expected that the 5-year livelihood is around 75-80%. So 20 people would still die with disease coming back. So why don't we spend very little and screen it? So first thing is prevent it by not taking alcohol. Number 2, reducing your diet from fat to eat less, and by doing vaccination for hepatitis B, which is very prevalent in our society. So we have this national immunization program where children are born and they're given. But those adults who haven't got it, they should do it. And again, for hepatitis C, we have this treatment coming up. So if you have hepatitis C, it's a very treatable disease now. So get your treatment as soon as possible. Another is extramarital relations, a dirty virus called HPV-16 or 18 strain. This is human papilloma virus. These are viruses which subject you to oropharyngeal cancers in men, and the lower area of the uterus is called cervix, so we call it uterine cervix. So that comes as a number 3. So again, uterine cervical cancers, if you do vaccination, if you're a woman in reproductive age, between 9 to 26 years, we have these vaccines which are available, and these are regularly done in the Western population. So if you are reproductively active, this vaccination should be done. I would also say every woman who in our society who has first pregnancy, they should have a pap smear. Again, that's a screening test. It's very easy, very less cumbersome, and based on the histopathology, the findings, the gynecologist would advise you when to come back and get another pap smear.
Exactly. But sir, you know, this is very shocking for me, for somebody who's been on television for, you know, a longer period of time now, and these are the type of cancers which I've heard for the very first time that, you know, can be avoided like 100%.
Absolutely.
And this is something which has taken me by shock, ladies and gentlemen, that, you know, majority of the people over in Pakistan still don't know. And I still know for sure because, you know, this is an English medium channel. So what I mean, what I'm thinking is that, for example, that there's nobody who's actually even spoken about these cancers or how to avoid these cancers on any private channel where the medium of language is Urdu. And obviously still it's not going to reach out, but obviously we'll be sharing this information on our Facebook pages as well for the betterment of the society and community. But sir, now coming down to all of those, now there's another problem. Over here in Pakistan, what we've seen is that people really sit on their problems. You know, they wouldn't go to the doctor and they would be like, hey, you know what, even if he'll go to the doctor, you know, he'll probably just pick up on something. That's one. Number two, you know, just when the pandemic started, everybody started posting on Facebook and everywhere that, hey, don't go to the hospital, you know, the hospitals are actually killing people and all of that stuff. How do we get rid of this stigma attached to going to the hospital? Because people over here think, you know, for example, they will start taking some Peer Sahab ki phaki or, you know, something other than that as well, or dam kara lo, which is fine. I mean, why not? But you know, there needs to be science behind every treatment.
Yeah, I agree. Look, denial, fear, you know, our social structure, we are Islamic people. So talking about these dirty areas like, you know, uterine cervix or vaginal cancers or, you know, rectal cancers or prostatic cancers, even breast.
Exactly.
It's a social stigma. I mean, it's very difficult to convince somebody to go get test for something which is not, you know, verified as yet.
Yeah.
So that's all about screening. Screening means you detect an asymptomatic carrier who carries the disease, but he is not aware about it. So once people come up with these signs and symptoms, when you got blood coming out of any of the orifices, your mole becoming enlarged, you got a lesion which ulcerates, or you got nagging cough or hoarseness of voice, and, you know, discharges coming from different orifices. These are all when the tumor has grown substantially.
Exactly.
So once it is there, we know it is there, and it's a matter of diagnosis. So screening is all about, you know, when you don't have the symptoms, but you are at high risk. So it's been like, I've been trying to tell everybody that screening is just an early detection tool. Exactly. And we understand that our body develops cancers all the time, one through a genetic mutation and two, reduction in your immunity.
Exactly.
So you have this policing mechanism that keeps a check on abnormal cells. So once there is an abnormality, it transforms into a cancer, the policing fails, and then it establishes itself. So screening, when we talk about screening, you know, the communities should know that top 10 cancers, out of those, 7 are screenable. Right. So I just mentioned liver cancer, very easy to pick if you have a cirrhosis of the liver. You go ahead and do a simple test, blood test called alpha-fetoprotein and a special ultrasound. These can be done every 6 to 12 months, and these can be picked at a very early stage. Again, when we come to smoking, whether this is shisha or hookah or cigarettes,
whatever,
if you are an individual who's taking more than 30 packs a year, you are at risk of developing lung cancer and other cancers actually as well. But for lung cancer, we do low dose rate CT, which is called HRCT of the chest, and we can pick these small lesions at a very early stage. For men above 50, prostatic cancer, which is the male hormone producing testosterone, is coming from the testicles, but it's acting on the prostate gland, it transforming into a potential cancer. So every man who is above 50 years of age should have a PSA and an ultrasound. That needs to be done. For females, regular checkups by themselves, they're attending physicians, which could be oncologists, gynecologists, surgeons, and a mammography at 40 years of age.
Exactly.
And again, for body aunt and colorectal cancers. So colorectal cancer, they do put a camera in, which is called a colonoscopy, and we look at the stool for stool examination for blood tests, and we can pick them at a very early age. Cervix, I told you about, a pap smear. Head and neck cancers, when you do a toothbrushing every day, nobody is stopping you from looking into your lips and the gingiva and the oral mucosa. You can actually examine yourself and see what's going on. And similarly comes the skin. If you have these thills or moles, any progressive enlargement, color changes, discharge, too much irritation in a mole, you can all direct yourself to your physicians, and they can actually look into it, whether they are transforming. So screening actually picks up 7 of the top 10 cancers, as I said. So coming back to your question, the stigma is there. So that's why we are here, and we are here to spread the knowledge and precisely telling our communities that you can't just sit on a symptom in a state of denial that what if it turns out to be cancer, because if it turns out to be cancer and you delay, we know we're going to be in a very difficult road.
And the entire family is in a very difficult role, ladies and gentlemen, and I think that for our safety, for the safety of our children, for the safety of our parents and the family members, there's no harm in going and getting yourself screened as well. But sir, now one more thing which I wanted to share or in fact ask is, now, the process is not very simple. God forbid if something or somebody is sick, what they do is that they start calling other people within their family, and they'll be like, hey, who should we actually go to? So even when I was losing weight, so I was at 106 and I came down to 73 kgs, and I would sit down with my family and I would be like, hey, I feel something over here. So my father would be like, hey, you're just thinking too much. I can even feel something in my stomach. And I was like, I don't know, okay, if that's what you say. And then all of a sudden there was a phase where I would just pass out. If I went into a shower, I've taken a hot shower, I got back out, all of a sudden I'll pass out, I'll black out as well. So now the problem for us was, even at that time, that we didn't know which doctor to go to. So obviously initially in the first place, you will actually go to just a physician. And then the physician needs to be so on point with the test that he can actually help you diagnose the problem. Because nobody's going to come to an oncologist straight away. They will obviously go to a physician, and then the physician is going to recommend, okay, that you probably need to see an oncologist. Now, how do you think that we solve this problem for all of those people who are out there? Because half of the time they don't know what to do.
Yep. I'll try to answer this, Shehzad, in two parts. First, we talk about this denial and fear. So obviously, when you're talking about knowing the knowledge of that the cancer is becoming a potential epidemic or transforming into a pandemic globally, where to go? So obviously, this is a specialized field. I am called a super specialist. So I am bogged down to 2 people, referral from my primary consultants, who could be surgeons, gynecologists, or physicians. Number 2, I'm dependent on what type of cancer to my pathology colleagues, who actually examine that tissue under a microscope. So whatever they label, I would treat that. So taking a second opinion is always a good option. When you're asking somebody for screening, that look, you are at risk. For instance, hereditary cancers, which would come in an early age, and you'll have 3 or more than 3 number of people in your family who have a cancer. So asking somebody should not be a problem. You are at risk. You should be going to the hospital. If you have breast cancer, you need a mammogram, so you go to a surgeon. If you have cough coming from the lung, you go to a pulmonologist who is a lung specialist. If you have a cough which is coming, or a nagging cough which doesn't go away in few weeks, even if you're a smoker, you would be coughing all the time unnecessarily. So those are the kind of people who would visit a pulmonologist. But then we have cough coming from sore throat. We know that. So laryngeal cancers would have hoarseness of voice. So you need to go to an ENT consultant. For any discharge or blood coming, especially after postmenopause, when your menses have ceased, you need to see a gynecologist. So you need to know what is your symptom and who deals with it.
Exactly.
All right, so that's important. Obviously, we have these set of patients coming to us who have been actually after their physicians telling that look, I have got 3 or more than 3 people in my home. My pupos, khalas, or nani, or my mother, or my sister who had breast cancer, and still they were not picked because the mammography was not optimal, or the person who was reading the mammography was not optimal. So we understand that in America, they've actually switched from 2D to 3D mammographic machines where the yield of picking up these early lesions is very high. So it's all about, planning your health facility in a way that people reach the right place. So in NHS, which is the National Health Services in the UK, is a model where they have this, primary physicians, they call them general physicians or GPs. That is the network. And they're, trained in a way that they pick these lesions at a very early age. And if they are in limbo, they know exactly where to send them. So I wouldn't, directly say that the community should know it. It's our doctors who should know where to refer these cases. So that's important for the doctors to understand rather than the communities.
Thank you very much for saying that, but I want to add on over here. I'm sorry that I'm interjecting as well. And this is something which I just remembered because you just mentioned about NHS, and so I'm a very frequent traveler in between UK and Pakistan as well. So this is one thing which I learned over there, that for every kid who actually goes to school over there, they tell them, the teachers themselves tell them to touch yourself everywhere, every morning when you're going for a shower. And God forbid, if you think that there's something very different with your body, you have to tell your parents and go to the doctor in the first place. Now, over here in Pakistan, nobody ever told us in our schools that, hey, you know what, early in the morning when you get up, check yourself, touch yourself everywhere. And God forbid, if there's any deformity, tell everybody else, or probably your parents only. So, what would you say on this, in terms of raising awareness?
That's brilliant. You see, it's again part of primary prevention. How come the teacher in the West is so aware? But they're not just focusing on cancers. They're talking about general health. So you can see their gardens are full of people jogging, walking, cycling, but it's not a culture here. I mean, we see people just, a group of people playing basketball or cricket, for that sake. These are the 2 things I see most of the times. But over there, these grounds are full. So that's a lifestyle modification. But that's only part of it. So coming back, media has a major important role in telling, the communities that this is a menace and we need to address it. So are the masjids and the, other areas where there are congregations, And number 2, our schools, head boys, head girls. The shyness in our culture, not telling about your personal things to others, other than the dilemma of fear and anxiety and, the social restraint, that why should I tell somebody about my private part? So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a problem health-wise, you need to go to a doctor who would maintain your confidentiality. And I am with my people, like, why should I tell my personal thing to my colleague? I should go to the doctor. It's just like a lawyer. You have a lawsuit. You are not going to discuss it with everybody. You would go particularly to a lawyer and talk to him about it. Similarly, for your health problems, do not shy. Now, the only problem I see is when I convince people, which I always do in my family as well, asking somebody to get a screening test and then waiting in a queue, which may last for 4 hours, and then, looking for the report and the anxiety associated with it. So the answer to that would be, you see, we are ready to spend billions of rupees in terms of treatment, but we are very hesitant to spend a couple of thousands to just take care of our health. That's a sad part of, again, what we're doing is we're telling people that, okay, come on, add another bill to your, expenses and go get your screen. But awareness is the one. If you're aware, and that's what we are precisely doing right now.
And that's what we are supposed to do as well, ladies and gentlemen. I feel over here it's our responsibility to make sure to disseminate information, and that's what we were talking as well. But very quickly towards the end of this segment, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually going to request Dr. Saab over here. So, I just want you to be in conversation with people and tell them that, how spending just 2,000 rupees over a blood test is actually going to save them millions of rupees in terms, God forbid, if even they have cancer.
Yeah. Thank you, Shahzad. I mean, let's again take the example of liver cancer. So doing a alpha-fetoprotein test probably would be free in the government sectors, but in Shifa it costs just a couple of thousands, plus an ultrasound of the liver, maybe another 2,000. So you get yourself checked every 6 months in that meager amount. If you have a cirrhosis of liver, may it be alcohol, fat, hepatitis B or C. So get yourself vaccinated. That's done free throughout the country. Then we have these treatment for hepatitis C. We already mentioned at the start of this program. Avoid alcohol. Do active lifestyle. Change your lifestyle habits. Sitting at home and thinking about your profession, your career, your money, your stigmas, it's far easy to go out, walk and think about it, and you'll feel fresh, and you'll feel,
Exactly.
you may have ideas which are not popping up when you're sitting in your cozy bed. These tests would save you from developing cancer. Once you have the cancer, a liver transplant costs, in my center, which is known in Pakistan as the Center of Excellence for Liver Transplant, it costs 5 million rupees. 5 because we have a donor, we spend that kind of money on him, and then we have the recipient who has the cancer. So it's 2.5 million for each. So that's an enormous amount. So do you think it's easy to spend 5,000 every year rather than to spend 5 million?
5 million.
So that's just a take-home message. So it be breast cancer. People keep on coming to me with newly diagnosed breast cancer, and they ask me what would be the cost of the treatment. So if I don't tell them about Herceptin, which is for HER2 positive breast cancer, I usually tell them $1 million to start with. So how about 4,000 rupees on a mammography, with the report? On a 3D tomosynthesis mammography at Shifa, which would be probably done free for those who cannot afford it in Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences. And you have got these mushroom growths of public sector hospitals throughout Pakistan. Obviously, we have the media, we have the doctors, we have the teachers, we have the imam of masjids who have these congregations every Friday, who can actually tell the people to take care of health, not particularly cancer, generally about their health. The government have their legislations. There are, I always say, 4 kind of areas who can address health. Health department is number 1, education, and lastly, if not least, the environment department. I mean, these are the ones who can
and I think that everybody needs to play their role as well. But thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed Farooq, for being with us. It was very kind of you to actually take out time and join us on this special day, where we were talking about how to actually, ladies and gentlemen, help you to prevent cancer. And all it takes is to go to the hospital, get yourself screened, and that's it pretty much. God forbid, if you feel that there's something which is bothering you, disturbing you, just go, just get yourself checked. That's it. You really do not have to think too much about it. And inshallah, for all of those people, our prayers are with you. And we would want Pakistanis and people all over the world to be healthy and adopting to a healthier lifestyle. Obviously, when I'm doing a 100 kg deadlift or a 100 kg bench press, I cannot think of anything else, so it actually takes away the stress as well. So please make sure that you adopt to the new practices, the healthier practices in life, which are actually going to ensure a longer and a healthy life as well for you, yourself, your kids, and people who surround you. But this is not it, ladies and gentlemen. We're actually going to head out towards a short break, but when you guys will come back, we actually have a surprise. Since we use this platform to disseminate information, we even use this platform to celebrate our amazing people, talented people who do wonderful things for all of you people who are out there. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Good morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for everybody who just got tuned into Ptvworld. You watch Ptvworld this morning alongside the one and only Shahzad Hasan Khan. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very sorry for this one as well, but when it's due, it's due. You cannot do anything. But as a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, earlier we were in conversation with Dr. Mohammed Farooq, who actually kind of, I think, made us aware about all of those cancers which we can actually avoid 100%. And then he told us that there are different types of 7 cancers, the most deadliest cancers. You can actually get your screening done. It can be picked up at a very early stage, and that you can save yourself. What a wonderful message early in the morning. But not just that, ladies and gentlemen, since we share this platform to make sure that we disseminate information about all or various kinds of things and problems, we even share this platform with people who are very talented. So today we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by a musician, somebody who's a singer. This is his, he has just released his 8th song, and I'm very ecstatic because for the very first time on Ptvworld screen, the song will be aired. But in a minute, ladies and gentlemen, he is Mr. Sheyryar. Mirza, hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
I'm well, Shahzad, batao.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you, and congratulations on the new release.
Thank you. It's an exciting time, you know. Just came up with a song called Kaise Jaane Du.
Yeah.
And inshallah, I hope you like it.
Exactly, we will. But I wanted to ask a little about it as well. That you know, how did you conceive that? Okay, you know, this is something I want to do, and that too, during pandemic times. You know, tough times.
Tough times, man. So the pandemic, for all its fallout, has had a couple of advantages for artists. That's given people like us more time to introspect.
Yeah.
And you know, with the work from home situation, people can actually find more time for their creative endeavors.
Exactly.
And so I was able to find a little time for my music, and of course connect, you know, deep down inside. So ये जो introspection था, I think it really helped us, and so it helped me go back to the studio, really take the time out, and mashallah, you know, record the song and shoot a video. However, the video, as you'll see, is completely 3D, and there's a reason, because see, with productions, they can be very risky with you know, the human contact and the pandemic time. So I opted for a completely animated video.
Exactly.
So, and you know, we're all the better for it.
Yeah, and I've seen the video as well, and I've loved it, loved every bit of the music as well, and loved every bit of the lyrics, loved every bit of the video. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about time that we take you on this wonderful ride where we will be letting you know how Sheyryar Mirza actually came up with Kaise Jaane Du. Let's do this.
रात में ढल जाए, बरस बरखा मंजल थल हो जाए, क्यों चुप रहो कैसे जाने दूं, दूर दूर बैठे हैं दो दीवाने, मिल रहे हैं दिल कोई ना जाने, क्यों ना कुछ कहो कैसे जाने दूं, कैसे जाने दूं, कैसे जाने दूं, कैसे जाने दूं। साहिल पे खड़े सपनों में घिरे, कोई क्या कहे, कोई क्या करे, सोच सोच में सावन बीता जाए, प्रीतम है वो पल जो ना गवाए, दिल की सुनो कैसे जाने दूं, कैसे जाने दूं, कैसे जाने दूं, कैसे जाने दूं। बिरहा की ये खलिश है, दूं कैसे जाने दूं कैसे जाने दूं कैसे जाने दूं कैसे जाने रहा कि ये खलिश
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Kaise Jaane Doon by Mr. Sheyryar Mirza, and I think that he's done a wonderful job. The video, ladies and gentlemen, is on point. The music was on point. The vocals are on point. And in fact, in the middle of the song, I was to Sheyryar that, his vocals actually kind of resemble the vocals of late Mr. Junaid Jamshed as well. Have you ever gotten this compliment before as well?
Yeah, I have, and it's a beautiful compliment to get. I grew up listening to the Vital Signs. They were my one of my heroes back in the day. And whether it's subconscious or it's not, I just feel that when you sing a love song, you do it in a very gentle way.
Yeah.
And so if it does come out in a very JJ-esque way, then that's fine, as long as the expression is there.
Exactly.
So yes, his name has come up many times, and it's an honor for me.
Exactly. And you just released this music video almost 2 days ago.
Correct.
And in fact, 3 or 4 days ago, ladies and gentlemen, and this was for the very first time that was aired or premiered on television screen. So we are thankful to you that you gave us this opportunity to share your music video with the rest of the audiences in 46 different countries. But what's the kind of feedback you've been getting so far?
Been getting really good feedback on the video and the song. The good news is that the radio has been playing it a lot. So luckily I have a lot of friends who are RJs, and they're very nice and very kind. But I think the real feedback I've been getting is from the radio channels.
Yeah.
And they've been getting a lot of requests. And now everything is so digital these days, yeah? Everything is total social media. So I've actually got some good comments from across the border.
Yeah.
From neighboring India, fans over there who liked it, and so generally it's very positive.
Exactly.
They like the lyrics, they like the soft way it's been recorded, and generally it's a ballad, so you can't really go wrong. Huh?
Yeah. And the music is very different as well from the kind of music this generation is listening to. This music is very different. So what is the kind of audience you have catered to, with this kind of music video and music itself?
That's a really good question. I think there is a return to roots, but I would say return to roots is nothing new for Pakistan.
Yeah.
We're living in a very cool time where we have Visconi music, we have Velo Station, and no doubt there seems to be a
Kashmir
bit of
as well.
a Kashmir beats, totally. So there's a return to the 80s.
Yeah.
However, I don't think the 80s is part of our culture at all. I mean, the synth is all very nice, but people love to gravitate back to the harmonium, the flute, and the tabla. So I've infused all those sounds. It's like I said, it's nothing new. But yes, we are moving away from it. So ये जो कहते हैं ना retro sound है, this is the pure sound, and it's the Indus Valley that we all love and we all want to relate to. I just like to say that I was also inspired a lot by the early A.R. Rahman, the late 90s, mid 90s. Dil Se wala jo period tha, and the great stuff. So there is a bit of the a tip to Mr.
The feel, and the feel is there, and it's very evident as well. And I think that you've done a great job, and Ali Mustafa has done a great job with music as well. And I'm surprised to know that he's back in Pakistan.
Yes.
And that too in Islamabad. Wow, wonderful. Ali
Lovely.
Mustafa, ladies and gentlemen, is a music genius. But keeping it about Mr. Sheyryar today, ladies and gentlemen, what I would love to know is that since you've spoken about Velo, I've loved Velo's music, to be very honest. And one way or the other, Shamoon actually said that that it is majority of his music which we actually got to hear in Velo anyways. But this is something which he said to me in person. I don't know whether I should have said it on TV or not. But other than that, for example, Hira Mani singing, Imran Abbas singing, and all of these people singing. What's your take on this? And do you think that everybody should sing if they can sing, or do you think that they can really sing? Let's talk about that.
Imran Abbas can sing.
Okay.
He's an all-rounder. I'm a big fan, but the same doesn't obviously go for everyone in the industry. Obviously, it's a nice concept. So you already have established people singing. I would obviously go for people who still want to find their feet and who are not part-time models or actors, if you know what I mean. So I'm not maybe the biggest fan of the Kashmir Beach situation, although I like the concept because it's guaranteed views. So as a producer, I get it. I'm a branding, marketing guy, so it's a no-brainer. But what I like much more is the Velo Station. You mentioned Shamoon Ismail, he's fantastic. There are many other, you know, Natasha Humera who did a beautiful song for Visconti music.
Islamabadis are doing very well, man.
Islamabad is doing well. They're very musical. I think they're very
yeah.
musical, and they're representing Islamabad, mashallah.
Exactly.
So all in all, these formats are very good. They're getting the views. They're getting the sales up. So hey, that's what matters.
No, but they're getting the views because they've actually posted all of the music videos into ads as well, you know. So every time you go to open up something, there's this ad running, and obviously it's a view. It's another view for, and it's a view which nobody can ignore, you know. It's just going to be there. You will actually take another 5 seconds or 10 seconds to skip the video, even if you want to listen to that music or not. But the best part is, since I think know all the songs from Velo Music Station, but I don't know any of the song from Kashmir or Visconti for that matter as well, or whatever the brand is. And I think that this speaks volume about who actually did a better job. No, what will you say about it?
Definitely does. These days, a lot of things come down to media plans.
Yeah.
If I bombard you with this song right now, and if I can do it right now, I don't have the money, so I don't have a corporate behind me. But the fact is, you can, even a bad song can sell because that's how you drum it.
Yeah.
So Velo was able to drum it. You could not escape Velo if you logged on to your YouTube and all. And so.
And Bilal Maqsood, man.
But it was also backed by a good product.
Yeah.
You know, you cannot just buy likes in this world. You also have to have a good product. So when you have both, it's great. So I think you know.
I think it's wonderful, and I think that you've been very diplomatic with your answer because you're a musician yourself, so you wanted it to be safe. But yes, it's wonderful. Thank you very much, Sheyryar, for being with us. Very quickly, you know, we obviously want you to share with your fans and people who actually listen to your music or who follow you that what are your future goals or plans for that matter, and then just lead us out with a song of yours as well, you know, if you can sing it for all of our people. But very quickly, I'm going to do a wrap up and then you can take it away. Perfect. So ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of World This Morning. On Twitter, it's World This Morning without a G. On Daily Motion and YouTube, it's World This Morning. The fabulous repeat is going to be at 5 past midnight. Ladies and gentlemen, till the next time, look after yourselves. Sheyryar, please take it away.
Great. Well, thanks for having me on the show. Shahzad is a gentleman as always, so I just really am a big fan. I would just like to say that I hope everyone liked the song. I want to obviously keep following up with similar songs. I will be coming up with a song that I'm doing a duet with Zoha Zubairi. And again, Ali Mustafa is going to be producing the same song. So, inshallah, many exciting things to look forward to, pandemic or no pandemic.
Wonderful. Take it away. So what are you going to sing for us?
So since you mentioned Junaid Jamshed, I do want to leave with a humble tribute to Vital Signs. All right. So this one's called Tere Liye Hai. तेरे लिए है मेरा दिल मेरी जान होते हैं तो हो फासले दरमियाँ तेरे लिए है मेरा दिल मेरी जान होते हैं तो हो फासले दरमियाँ अपने आगाज से आज तक जिंदगी तेरे ही सोच में गुम रही